Somebody lift those hands and say,
It's a new rise.
I need you to speak it over your own life
It's
tonight.
a new rise.
It's a new rise.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Propel Deep Dive Live. And I am thrilled that you're here with us today. My guest, April Diamond, will join me in a minute. But before we begin our conversation, I'd just like to share with our new guests what the Propel Deep Dive is all about. I have been building businesses for the last 35 years, and these businesses are technically in the beauty and wellness space. I've developed two clinical medical grade skincare lines, as well as a luxury day medical and wellness spa. I sold two of those businesses, and now I'm building a new business, a brick and mortar of Novita Beauty Regenerative Wellness. We started doing regenerative stem cell in 2019, and we've done over 500 patients since then change in their lives. And it started with me. I needed a knee replacement, chose not to do that, have stem cell, had amazing results. So I just wanted to give that overview because so many people ask me, about it. So go to novitaspa.com and the trailer of my information will be coming across. And you can always just message me there and I will get back to you and we can have a conversation because we do have people fly in from all over the country. A couple of years back in 20, when I sold the asset purchase of the luxury day and medical spa, before I started the new brick and mortar, I knew it was time to put together a program, a platform for you to help you with information and tools to start, scale, and sustain the business and life of your dreams. So I put together the Propel program, which you can find on, you can go to novitaspa.com, but also we're going to put up my link tree, which is propel.megandimartino.com/info. And there you can find it all. The keys to the kingdom. The course is there, the Propel, your business and life activation program, the Propel lives, which we are doing today, that you're going to be watching today, as well as the Propel community. And I so encourage you to join the Propel community because you will receive a daily nugget of inspiration and encouragement curated by me, often Megisms that I have, spoken over the last 40 years in business and life, as well as a weekly newsletter of called the Motivation a Mindset. And then you'll get notifications of all of the events, least of which is the Propel Deep Dive Live, which we're doing today. Why I say least of it is that we have a curated place where you can go and listen to all of the past Propel Deep Dives. And also they are on all of the podcasting platforms such as Spotify. So that's kind of the nugget. I've been building this brand of Propel essentially for you. We've done summits and workshops and webinars and so forth, and much to come in 2025. But what I wanted to share just is a little overview of what the Propel program is. And so today we are having our beautiful guest, inside and out, Miss April Diamond. And April and I met in January of 2024 at an event where she was a music judge at the Festival of Song put on by Maria Lind, who's been a guest on the Propel Deep Dive. And I met April there, and we have gotten to know each other. And in the early winter of 24, she was a guest. And her new single had just come out, and it had hit the top 100 chart, and she hit number 1. And wow. And what an exciting time. So much has transpired since then that I decided that I would invite her to join me again to bring you up to date. And one of the reasons, guys, is that I want you always to know that things you have to start, and it's about building it, evolving it. That's called scaling it. But you have to have that clarity, that courage to do it, that confidence to continue on, that commitment to never stop, and that compassion of self. If things don't always go exactly as planned, but don't stop, keep going, and it will come to pass. So with that said, I cannot wait for you to meet again, or for the first time, my beautiful guest, April Diamond.
Hello, Megan.
Hello, my love. Thank you so much for joining me. You're traveling and you're just moving. So I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read a little bit of this, but of what you're doing. But
Okay.
what I would like you to do is give a little thumbnail sketch, a little bit of who April Diamond is, where you grew up and what brought you to music. Why music, April? I can't carry a tune. So, I mean, that would not be my field of favor. So,
Sure.
And I was actually thrown out of choir in 4th grade when the nun heard a bad note and said, "You out."
Yeah.
But with that said,
Yeah.
share a little bit about you and then we'll bring it up to where we are today.
Well, thank you for that introduction, and thank you for asking. Music was just kind of it was always part of my family. It was part of my growing up years. I always grew up with music in church. We went to a little church and my grandmother played the organ and the piano, and she was always after me to sing and to learn to play the piano. And my dad played the guitar and the bass, and then my little brother picked up the guitar, and we all had music. My mom loved to sing in the worship teams and sing along, and she had all her old albums. I grew up listening to my mom's record collection, really old record collection from her grandmother back then.
Wow.
I mean, all of these things. So there's a lot of emphasis of music in my life growing up. It was the one event where my grandmother finally got me to get up to go sing, and I did. And we avoided it. I avoided it as much as I could, but ultimately, and I say this a lot in interviews, the grandmother, she gets it done. The praying grandmother gets you there. They know things, so that sort of set it all in motion. And went to college, got a vocal performance degree, started off as a business major, and just my soul said, go to music. And everyone's like, okay, because when you're a music major, it's like, gee, I wonder how that's going to turn out.
Right.
Like building a business, because how do you build a business in music? Well, it took some interesting turns, and I did. I wound up becoming a vocal coach, and then I wound up finding a producer. I tried other things, and I definitely do lots of other things. But I think the reason I've stayed focused on music and found different parts of it that I have excelled at is because that's where my heart was, and you, as you were talking about your experience and your stories, it's evident that you have a goal in mind, and there's something that you want to accomplish, and a legacy you want to leave for the rest of the world, to continue on. It can't just stop with us, right? So I feel like that music, I had lots of people in my life step up and encourage me, because there's obviously a lot of obstacles at all of us to keep us from doing what we're supposed to do. Sometimes I think that's the muscle builder, right? The emotional and personal muscle builder. So I continued on, and there wasn't always enough money, and there wasn't always enough time, and it wasn't always the logical thing to do, because the logical thing to do is to have a good job and make a lot of money and have a nice car and buy property and, just have all those things and pay all your bills. And then, when you die, you can say you can do all those things, but you did all those things, but what did you leave the world? Right. So I've always looked at it. I don't look at it as being irresponsible. Like, I don't care what happens. Obviously you have to fund things, but at the same time, I feel like that being a singer and, the offer that I got from acquiring a producer saying, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle, April, but I think that we can do it. Because I'm an independent artist, right? I think we can, chart you on some national charts. I think we can get you into the big music business, but it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of staying power and consistency. And so we started off, as I've told you before, the last time I was here, about to Feel So Good. That's the second radio hit. And the first one was I Got the Music in Me, which stayed on the national radio charts for 24 weeks.
Wow.
And that's like almost unheard of in the world of our promotional team. They're like, what is going on? And they still play, those markets are still playing that song. I mean, family and kids, everyone loves it.
Right.
So Feel So Good is the follow-up. and it did really well. It spent 18 weeks on national radio, and now we finally have a video just about to come out. And the next song after that, I did finish a Christmas song last year. Christmas is my favorite time of year. That's what it's called. And so that one did really well on streaming and on other platforms. So I think it's, and then I Got a Secret's next. That's the next big song that's not a secret anymore. But, yeah. But the music and the journey to complete the music and the timelines and to get everything done at the same time, it's really hard. I mean, it's really hard. You have people and things and obstacles and some, sometimes you have opposition. You have opposition and it's just, it's like, well, this isn't going to work for this. So we're going to have to say no to you. This isn't going to work for this reason. And I was always raised to find a way, right? I was always raised to, I'd always come to my dad and like, I don't think it's going to happen, Dad. And here's why. And he's like, well, that's not happening is not an option. Got to figure it out. Make a plan, make another plan, and make another plan until the plan works, right? You run businesses, so you know.
Yes, I do. I know it very intimately.
The fear will come, and the rejection will come, and the loss of friendships will come. The tribe changes, and I've heard because I've joined some multimillionaire groups, where masterminds where they talk about how they run all their businesses and that sort of thing. And one common denominator, there are many, but one that was kind of shocking to me was that in the beginning is that the closer you get to your goal, sometimes the more people don't like what you're doing, or you seem to catch a little bit more resistance, which I find interesting. But at the same time, again, that's where your tribe changes. So I think it's good because you find out who your real tribe is and who you really are.
Truly. Let's dive into that for 1 second. Okay. Because I think it's a very important piece. I mean, it ties back to, your passion and your purpose. Your passion is music, and your purpose is really to get it out to the world, and the world is inspired by it. I assume that is one of your, purposes.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing, and it's a but, because what you just said struck a nerve, or a chord, musical chord. In that, I mean, the last, in this, I'm doing you will talk about TED Talk in a minute, but I'm going to be doing a TED Talk personally in October. And I have applied so many times because they're all independent, and very politely said, thank you so much for your submission. No, thank you. Not at this time, or try again, or whatever they said. But I knew as I knew, April, that this was the year, and so many different reasons. But one of the reasons was what you just said, that for the last 2 years, I have been really alone. And I mean, I'm surrounded by people, with business, but meaning from, you used the word tribe a couple of times. And I have several very good older friends, meaning that I've known forever and a day. And one that is a prayer partner that I've had, friendship for about maybe 5-8 years. And I know as I know she's there. But socially, very quiet. And I knew as I knew through that, that it wasn't about, they don't like me, do. It was more that the Lord is guiding and wanting to have the channel open for his movement, not my movement. So what would you share with that?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It is his direction. And sometimes we stay, I think part of that is sometimes we stay too, you've heard that phrase, don't stay too long at the party.
Yes.
Sometimes you're hanging around a space because you've made like a little home base, right? In different parts of life and business and whatever it is you're striving for. And it's continual motion. You can't stay too long in one place because the progress is the motion moving forward. Right. People say, keep moving forward. you got to unpack what that actually means.
Mm-hmm.
And moving
Exactly.
forward can be saying goodbye to a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you hang on even to the slightest thing, it will hold you in a space and your forward motion stops.
So stop for 1 second. Even the slightest things, guys, listen to that, please, because we may assume, and this is an assumption, that, oh, it's only XYZ, whatever that might be. Oh, it's such a trivial thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have that knowingness in your spirit, as trivial as it may be, that can hold you back. That's such a very important point. Very important point.
Yeah, and you know this in business too, and it
Mhm.
applies to music, and it applies to everything. When you see something in your heart and your mind, because God does give us wisdom, and you're
Mhm.
right, He moves us forward, and when we pray, we're like, okay, God, give me the answer, and then He sends you in a direction, and you're thinking, this can't be it.
That's
Yes, it
exactly.
is. How can I lose all that? And you're telling me this is forward motion. But it's you get something in your head, you get a vision, or you get thinking, okay, this is the ultimate of how it would play out, but
Mhm.
how I'm going to get there, there's no, like, the obstacles are too big.
Mhm.
That's how
Mhm.
we see it as people. And
Yes. Mhm.
but that's the part that God fills in the gaps. He
Yeah.
fills in those gaps, and we need to be willing to walk through it. And I have a lot of people ask me, how did you get this far, April? How did you stay with the music? How can you keep on going like this year after year? And aren't you concerned it takes so long? And aren't you concerned about um it did concern me, and it still does, when I kind of look around and do a human evaluation. But on the other hand, when I do my gratefulness, I realize that I have been carried through every stage, you know. And you can point to things like, well, this happened to keep me going here, and then this door open and that door open. Well, how did those doors open?
Mhm.
Because it
Mhm.
was the right thing, and because really honestly God provided, and He made that way. So
Mhm.
why wouldn't He continue to do it?
Mhm.
And I call it following the arrows. I followed the arrows. Yeah. And I kept making the music, and He kept giving me ideas, and I'm like, am I going to keep putting money into this, or I'm going to have a stable home and a stable and a situation? And God's like, I want you to do this.
And what defines stable? I mean,
Yeah,
so
I
that's
know.
subjective, very subjective.
It is very
I heard a quote recently that from a very wise person,
yeah.
and Dr. Clarice Fluitt, and she said, "Reason is another word for doubt."
Very good point. I think it's good to have reason, and it's good to weigh things, but at the same time, you've got to understand what it means to have a dream. And if
Mhm.
you had a dream 5 years ago or even 10 years ago, and you see yourself, you have moved forward, consistently
Yes,
and
right.
in a consistent motion, then you look back and go, well, this is really taking too much time. But you have moved. So that
Mhm.
motion says something, right? And you're right.
Mhm.
It's when you contemplate, oh, okay, well, I'm going to stop here because it doesn't make sense financially, it doesn't make sense for the time frame. I understand why people feel
Oh,
that,
yes.
and I can
Yes.
see why they back off. But at the same time, for me personally, there's no turning back now.
Right. 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 And
Not
no,
now.
you get to a place and understanding. Well, I should say it this way: when you truly understand what your passion is,
Yes.
truly what that is, then there is no turning back, because you can opt to forego that passion and
Right.
for a lovely house, in the hills of LA, but
Right.
that's not going to fill your spirit.
Correct. Yeah, and it's not necessarily going to inspire people. I mean, it will,
Well,
but to do something is extraordinary requires
mhm,
everything that you've got. To do
yes.
something extraordinary the way you see it, and to the magnitude in which you know that it can be, it
Hmm.
requires everything that you've got. And if you're going to be like that superhero and step out on a limb and pray and believe and say, that is what I'm going to become, and retrain your brain to
Hmm.
say, that
Hmm.
is where I'm going, and I'm not changing it. And this is
Right.
how we're going to get there today. And tomorrow it may change. And who knows, these opportunities, I will say, continue to open for me. And right now, there's
Yeah.
so much amazing stuff in play. I
Yeah.
have to say
Well,
that to
let's
see it
talk
all
about
happen
that.
is,
Yeah.
tremendous. But
So before we went
yeah.
live, I said, so give me because I follow you and I see this. So I'm just
Thank
reading
you.
my notes here. you're just finished an 18-week campaign for Feel So Good and its new video.
Yeah.
And you did a TED Talk. And from that TED Talk, which is Learn to Love the Sound of Your Voice, you're doing a book, and the book launch is coming up.
Yes.
And I mean, so there's so much going on that, and I'm going to go back to what you just said, that if you hadn't continued on, none of this would happen. None of this.
Yeah, none of it
No.
would happen. And I think that we look at life, there's a different, the future has presented certain things that are of value differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like your online assets, your music, your TED Talk, your book, the things you put out into the world for people to see, your master classes, your educational
Right.
things, the music, the contribution to music. For me, it's an honor to contribute to the world of music. I just said this in an article recently that's coming out. I have an article coming out in Los Angeles Magazine, which I'm really excited about. Super excited. And that's one of the things I got to say was that, to contribute to the world of music and songs that will stay, beyond me and inspire others to do what I do. That really means something to me. And I feel like that's the asset I want to put out there. Yes, I would love to have houses and cars, but I want to see that story be told. I want someone else to come up behind me and say, I want to do what April Diamond did.
Yes.
I want other people to be able to come up behind me and say, she did it. How did she do it? Let me unpack that and let me do it in an even bigger way. Right. So if they
and
find
as
a
you're
better way,
speaking,
go for it. Yeah.
Amen. And as you're speaking, because you've said this several times about your living your legacy, so to speak, which is what you're doing, but then leaving your legacy.
Yes.
And so as you're living your legacy, that's the inspiration to younger artists and other people saying, how did April Diamond do this? But that legacy of who you are, what you are, whose you are, is all important, and truly is all important. And again, there's nothing wrong, folks who are listening to us, that if you're not aspiring to do that, but most people who are going to be listening, April, are people that in their own genre, whatever that is, okay, they want to do something, and that makes a difference. Whatever that is.
It does. And everyone, I think that everyone has something special that they can give to the world.
Yes,
there are lots of people with businesses. There's lots of real estate agents. There are business owners. Yes. There are people that do all kinds of things. Yes. My family is financial planners and real estate and, everything finance. And except for my one brother who plays in a band, but even he's in finance too. And I'm like, hey, brother, as soon as I'm out there, you're coming with me, and I'm going to hijack him and make him go on tour with me. But it's illogical, and it's sometimes it's illogical to the people around you, is my point. When you step out and you think of all the greatest people, people at points lost everything, and still,
for sure,
continued on.
For sure. No, it is a common denominator that is factual. I mean, you could go way, way, way back and on and on and on. I mean, and even beyond Edison and so forth. I mean, that is factual, because again, one of the first quote unquote self-help books I read was when I was 22 or 3-ish. And it was Scott M. Peck, The Road Less Traveled was the name of it. And the first sentence in the book was that, I lived in Connecticut, and he was from Connecticut, and that somehow I was given this book. But anyhow, the first sentence is that life is difficult, and until you embrace that or accept that, or it's not quote unquote, but until you embrace that, it will become more difficult.
Yes, so true.
Yes.
That's a very good point. It's a very good point. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
And you've got to understand that is the key to success. And until you go and face all of those difficulties, you're still going to find yourself frustrated. I mean, it's frustrating. It's so often, daily it can be. But what I've learned too from the greatest people and in my prayer time is that when you face those things every day, after a while, you get used to, okay, what do I have to do today? Let's break it down. Instead of getting upset or getting frustrated, I want to quit.
Yes.
You learn to break things down and you become a problem solver, you know, and
Yes,
you say,
exactly.
okay, this is the next thing. And you line them all up and go, okay, we're going to go from here to here to here to here. And I must say, being at the point that I'm at now, I calculated that a few years ago. And I can remember being in this place like 3 or 4 years ago saying, how am I going to do all that? And I've done it. It's
Mm-hmm.
already here. Now I'm on the next leg of it, right?
See, that's it right there. And that's a great point too. And I'll never forget when I started my first skincare brand in '92. But I had worked for 2 other large corporations in national sales and marketing, so I coordinated trade shows and blah blah blah.
Sure.
And so but I started this skincare line, and in '92, skincare didn't. No, spa didn't exist. I mean, the distributors were like, Megan, we like you, but skincare, I don't even understand this. So, but I'm not going to go long into that. The point of the story, though, is that they said, I'll give you a shot, but you have to come and do our shows. Okay, great. So they said, I want you to have a classroom. Fabulous. Okay. So I had to do a bio. This is the point. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there with a blank piece of paper and saying, bio, what have I done? And as I started writing it, and I finished, because it was like, it couldn't be an epistle. It had to be like, 250 words. And I was like, wow, I've done more than I thought. That's the point, is that you just said that, meaning that as you continue to go on, you realize that you have contributed already to this ultimate, and there's no ultimate goal. It's the journey. The journey is the gift. The journey is the gift.
Absolutely. Well, that's a tremendous story too. Like, congratulations on all your success, Megan. Really, truly. And you bring light to other people's. It is a gift. And the evaluation of success, is it all just money? Is it all just, fame, or, people think highly of you, that kind of thing? That's all nice. But what if they don't always,
Right.
That's something I got out of that too. But writing out your list, because I think personally, sometimes we are just a little bit negatively wired. So we don't look at, oh, well, that just happened because of this, or, oh yeah, I got lucky there. Oh yeah, that did happen. Or, oh, and we minimize those moments, and they're really tremendously important to you, to your own personal success, and to the world. And so I think that's the gratitude part. And I think it's awesome that you had to sit down and write down that bio, and you probably inspired yourself and went, oh, wait.
I did. I was like, wow. And that was early on, which gave me that confidence-ish to even start this, crazy journey. So, but I knew, again, I'm not going to go into me. It's not about me. But the point is that we do need to do those assessments. We do. Because otherwise you get so lost in the weeds of the daily whatevers that it's very difficult to continue propelling yourself without that daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly assessment of what you've done. And the other piece I'd like to spend a minute on is you mentioned your producer, because this again is part of this Propel dynamic. Is that you mentioned your producer. You also what's the word I want? Have had to surround yourself, though, with some people that helped you get on the TEDx stage, or so forth. Meaning, maybe you got yourself on the TEDx stage. Meaning, I'm not going to bore you with my little story, but the point is that there are people that we have to help us in this journey.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, I have a long list, and a big thank you to my producer, David Longoria. Big thank you to Rachel Weaver, who got me the TED Talk. And what was funny is as I think about the TED Talk, I'm thinking about being in the car on the phone with her going, April, because she asked me to recommend some people to her. And I did. And at the end of the conversation, she said, well, what about you, April? And I was like, me? I'm too busy doing music. She's like, well, when will you not be busy? Good
Exactly.
point. Good point. And it was Rachel that pushed me to do it. And she goes, "You have to get accepted." I didn't know about it being accepted and all
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh,
And she
it's
said a
an
lot of
arduous
people,
process. It's not a one and
yeah.
done. Oh, no.
And
Mm-mm.
I got accepted right away. And I thought, wow. And later on, I realized what the gravity of that was. I mean, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I already have songs and Billboard credits and that kind of thing.
Sure.
But I mean,
Sure.
it's also God blessing me and saying
Amen.
this was the right thing
Amen.
to do. And
Amen.
I think that it's so many people to thank in the moment too, when you're working with these people and life evolves and things evolves and the music evolves. We all have our different ways of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think one of the things that gets hard is when we're sitting down talking about working on the next song, the next track,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I want to do this and do that, and I want to make a different sound, I want to sing something different, I want something to look different. And then the producer will reel me back, and David will say, well, we need to still stick to a good structure, we need to stick to this. And I'm like, I don't like this. And we go back and forth. I want to change this, I want to change that. Well, let's change this. Well, I know we sang it that way, but now we need to make that adjustment. And we keep making these adjustments. And it's, time is money, and
Mm-hmm.
frustration is part of the game. You can look at it as frustration, but what I have learned to do is look at that as growth, because creating art and creating something that everyone loves and is going to be inspired by, it
Mm-hmm.
takes all hands on deck, as they say, right? It takes
It does.
everybody.
It does. It
You
does.
just have to
It
work it
really,
out. And
it does.
that's part of, I think, the thing that people tend to resist when greatness is upon them is like, oh, but then I have to put myself in that space where we're going to go back and forth. And I'm like, well, this, like you say, the change and the adjustments, this is part of it. This is the thing that you, like you're saying, need to embrace that until you start to learn that that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to be a fight and a frustration.
It is. And that's, I think, folks, that's what I do want you to take away from this today, is that, again, and I say it whomever, April, in whatever genre, whether it's this genre or, or speaking, on a stage or at a conference, whatever, is, again, and I think that is one of the things that, if I shared my year of my birth, it's like, I've never looked at my age on any level. I mean, I'm just me. Sure. But I'm about to go into my 75th. I'm in my 75th year on this planet.
Wow, congratulations.
My birthday will be next August. And I share that not because...
We're both August babies.
Are we? Oh,
yes.
I'm 12th.
I'm 21st.
Okay. So it's a great month.
It's a great month.
It is. And I share it not because like, oh my God, but the Bible or any literature does embrace markers, years and markers. And I've realized, and that was one of the impetuses to try again for the TED, because, and a few other things that I'm doing, and that will evolve, in 25, because I want people to understand, like the title of my book, it's never too early or too late to create the life of your dreams, and I'm sure you have people, and we touched upon this, but will say, I'm 25. I have no idea what, I'm a good singer, but I don't know, 25, you're just a beginning girlfriend or boyfriend.
Exactly.
So that's what my heart is about, to give people that encouragement that the journey will evolve, things will change, yes, but know that passion and then that purpose,
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the rest will fill in the blanks. God will fill in those blanks. He will.
But this is how it goes. And it's, it's a journey of the people that God puts in your life. It's a journey of continuously creating something and moving forward and reviewing the goals and being grateful and going to the next level and getting brave and more brave every day. I would say braver, but braver is not a word, but becoming
more brave or braver. I like braver, like brave heart. Yes. Braver.
Yes. Exactly. And you celebrate that. And when you get to the destination, you look around and, you're celebrating, but you also realize that as they say, it's the journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that. I really do believe that. And I want to encourage people that are watching specifically, the thing that you do that you know you're meant to do, that you love, and then maybe most people around you don't understand why you want to do it and what it is you want to do and why you want to do it. They don't have to understand it.
No,
It's really given to you.
that's
It's
it.
your thing. You may be the only one that sees it, and you know, your spouse or the close people too, you may be like, okay, well, we're not exactly sure why you want to do that, but you know. And
Yes.
so that is enough.
Yes. Yes. You know, before we close, I do want to, you just said something very important. We spoke about the aloneness and that it, you know, the tribe changes, and that's okay. God has a plan, Jeremiah 29:11. But you just touched on something very key, that when you are pursuing a path, the road less traveled.
Yeah.
Often, and I mean, that's like an understatement. Often people do not understand the people around you, your family, your friends,
Sure.
but specifically your family, do not understand it.
Yeah.
And I have learned to not even share.
That's probably a good thing.
I've learned, because they're not going to, and it's for various reasons, their own whatever's their, you know, their love for you, their fear, their perception, whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember having published my book, Hope and Possibilities,
Mm-hmm.
and it went to #1 on Amazon in 4 business
Wow.
categories on my mom's birthday.
Wow.
And I was very excited about it, obviously,
amazing.
right? And I called a person that I care about, remain nameless. And this person said, oh, well, there was a grammar error on the X chapter. I'm like,
What?
okay.
Oh, the jealousy machine. Oh, please.
And
You
so
know,
I was like,
oh.
you know, to myself, I'm not going to carry any umbrage to that person. It is about, and that was really one of those moments, April, that I said, I'm just not that, you know, I'm just not going to share. I mean, they'll see it on social or they'll hear whatever,
Sure.
but I am not going to put any credence on needing something back from them. So why don't you share just a little bit, because I know this is something that people struggle with.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And in the music business, are you kidding? Wow. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yes. So what I can say to that is, when you get that feedback from people, no matter what it is, if it's a negative feedback, you're going to get negative feedback. It's fine. It's going to, or nitpicky or any of those things, you know, it's part of the test for you, right? To still understand the importance of what your art or your message or what you have done. It's a test for you to understand that it's important. And people project themselves on you, right? And they have a feeling, and that's how they react to you. People are going to react to your success. You know, people are going to be excited for you. You're going to get just a huge group of just all different kinds of responses. And that is part of putting yourself out there. And, you know, for me, it's making music and telling my story. And it's not always for everybody, you know, it's not always for everyone.
For sure.
And I feel like that what I want to tell people is that's also a measuring stick of how well you're doing. Because if you're garnering those kinds of reactions, you're getting to the heart of the matter, right? And you got to just, you know, okay, so put the dot on there for me. Okay, thanks. On the I, thanks. Okay.
Or a comma. Okay, thank you so much. Yes. No, exactly.
The important part is the message. The important part is that you did it. Yeah,
it is. And yourself. Yeah, and it's like you've said, and I've said, it's about holding on to you, who you are, your heart, what your why. You know, your why. And because when you know your why, nothing is going to really stop you, and it will evolve. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I have one question. Are you going to, and this is a 2-part question. I met you in January at Maria Lynn's event, the Festival of Song, and she's having, which I find so special, it's a celebration of the 30 years since her mother started this, and it's the first weekend of February. My question, are you going to be a judge again?
I have not checked in with Maria lately on that. So we'll check in with her and see. I know that I'm going to be touring and performing, but she and I have not chatted recently about that because I think she's been busy.
Yeah, she's been all over the place. Yes.
But we'll find out. Yeah,
I
we'll
would
find
love,
out.
I would love to have,
It
I mean,
was
because I really think it's a special, again, milestone marker,
yes.
something that
Yeah.
her mother felt very strongly about, started, and after she passed, that Maria took upon herself to continue
Yeah.
on. Now, do you do much of that? Do you do some things like that?
I have done a few things like that.
Mhm.
And I still often do. A lot of times these dates conflict with performances and, it's
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
deadlines, all that kind of thing. So I probably don't do as much of it as I would like. But
Mhm.
once we get finished with this album, I start speaking on stages with the book and the album this year, it'll be a big year for me.
Yes,
So
very much so.
then
Very
I
much
will
so.
definitely be out there doing more of that in
Yeah,
addition to
because it's a
performing.
great way for people to meet you
Yeah.
and to see your specialness.
Thank
It's
you.
not just, oh, absolutely. That's what drew me to you, not just your music, but just you and your beauty and not
Thank
and
you.
uniqueness, but your heart. It's very, very, very special. Very
I
special.
will. Thank you. And I will always remember our conversation when coming from the airport, you guys all picked me up and talking in the car and learning so much so fast, becoming fast friends with you and Maria and everybody. That was such a wonderful time.
It was.
I
Yes.
really treasure those moments and those conversations because I'm always looking for amazing people, and you're one of those rare amazing people, Megan. You really
Oh,
are,
thank you.
and you really put something out there in the world that is needed, and I know everyone around you appreciates it, and we love what you've done, and we hope you keep doing it. It's great.
Well, thank you,
It's
April.
awesome.
Thank you. Well, this is not, folks, this is not our last. We will keep track of this beautiful, talented woman and
Thank
everything she's doing after her book comes out. And now I'm sure Elizabeth has put, I've taken my glasses off, so I can't really see, but I've seen trailers. Has your information gone up?
I don't see it right now, but you can go to aprildiamond.com for everything April Diamond. If you would like to watch my Instagram lives, I go live and I interview people too.
Oh,
And
good.
I randomly, take you places and take you to the studio, eat food, go play. I mean, everywhere. I do
Oh,
all kinds of random
fun.
stuff. So that's becoming Live with April Diamond is becoming a thing, and more to come with that. I also have my Let the Voice Out voice training. So go to letthevoiceout.com, and that's where you can find out about my book. And then on Monday nights, I have a free Zoom class that you can hang out with April Diamond, learn to love the sound of your voice. This
Wow. Love that.
It's free every Monday night, 6:30 Pacific time. And then right after that class, that workshop, then I have started the Diamond Life at 7:30 Pacific time. The Diamond Life is everything it's I was doing some diamond lifestyle tips for a while on TikTok, and I will be bringing those back. But the diamond life is really how to frame and structure and make your life the way you want to look, the way you want to think, the way you want to eat, the way you want to live, just all the dreams and things you have. What do I have to do with myself to get myself ready to be there, right? And all those things we want to talk about, making ourselves better, and the diamond life. So there's a lot going on, Megan.
Yeah, man. So basically what I'm hearing is that Instagram, there are a lot of lives that go on. And
Yes.
so we need to, including myself, which I do, but I need to do a better job of plugging in to your lives and
Come on
participating.
over.
Yes,
I'll
I
make
will.
sure to I need to do a better email blast, and I'm getting those systems all set up too. So yes,
Good.
it's all happening. And you can just go to aprildiamond.com and sign up there. I have a newsletter that's starting in this month.
Okay.
And there will be more coming. So aprildiamond.com will be the central for everything.
Perfect.
April
Okay,
Diamond.
good. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Well, thank you, my love, for joining me today. Really
Thank you.
wonderful
You're
to
amazing.
be with you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And we will see you soon. So if you'd like to hang out in the green room, we'll say goodbye later. If not, if you have to go on, I understand. I'm just going to say goodbye to our friends. Do you have any last parting words you'd like to share?
Thank you for having me. You can also go and listen to April Diamond on Spotify and all the streaming platforms. And thank
Good.
you for your support. Streaming independent artists is a very important thing. We
Yeah.
need all the streams and all of the downloads we can get. So find April Diamond on iTunes, on Spotify, and all the streaming platforms and the music. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Very good. Yay. Thank you, love. Bye. What a special time. I just love April. You know, the thing about artists to me, and we're all artists because we're all creating, is that it's that independent heart. What is in us coming forth. And that's why I love doing the Propel Deep Dive Live and then podcast, which this will be up on Spotify and the other podcast platforms, but it will forever and a day be on YouTube. So go to YouTube and subscribe to it, to the Megan DiMartino Propel page, because it's just where this is. Will always be my unique leaders, which I did for years, starting in 20 until I transitioned over to Propel, are still there. And people comment to me about those often. So do go there. But then when you join the Propel community, you can go to the archives of all of this easy peasy in one spot and watch all of these amazing, amazing people with their beautiful lives and their hearts, and they're propelling them throughout their life for you. So we will see you next week with my next Propel Deep Dive guest. And I look forward to having you with me and seeing you in the Propel community. Be blessed.